Hey guys, I'm Ganesh Rai from Triple E, and today I'm going to talk about SSDs. In this video, I'll be going through about the types of SSDs, brief introduction of SSD, advantages of SSD over HDDs, and we'll be concluding this video with the working principle. And so start off, we'll talk about SSD. SSD, also known as the solid state drive, and it's a new way of mass storage in which data is stored on flash chips and there are no moving parts in this. So till now, this is known to be the fastest way of storage. So now we're gonna talk about types of SSD. There are mainly two types of SSD named SATA bus SSD and NVMe M.2 SSD. So now talking about SATA SSD. SATA based SSDs are the best for old computers that lack new SSD connector types and have only SATA connections. A great way to boost the speed of an older computer with a spinning hard drive is to close the drive to an SSD and replace the hard drive with an SSD, increasing the computer's ability to write data possibly by tenfold. So now talking about NVMe, it's also known as non-volatile memory express. It's a new controller used to replace AHCI, or also known as Advanced Host Controller Interface. AHCI is the controller that hard drives traditionally use to interface between the SATA bus of a hard drive and the computer it is connected to. NVMe also promises lower latencies by operating with higher frequency than AHCI, working with solid state's parallelization's abilities by being able to run more than 2000 times more commands to or from the drive that compared to a drive on an AHCI controller. So now in this slide, I'm gonna give you a brief introduction about SSDs. So SSD was introduced by SanDisk in the year 1991, which was approximately 29 years ago. During the time of introduction, they introduced a capacity of 20 MB, and during the time of introduction, it was around 2.5-inch form factor, which was the design which was offered by SanDisk. But the original concept of SSDs goes way back in the year 1978, around 42 years ago, and it was formulated by Storage Technology Corporation. During their introduction or the formulation of the concept, they formulated a capacity of 45 MB, which was way more for the time at that time. When it comes to storage in computers, SSD has a partner known as HDD, or the hard disk drive. It got its name because it has a rotating disk inside it for the processing of data. So there are numerous points when it comes for advantages of SSDs over HDDs. So starting with point number 1, you will be exhausted to find an SSD slower than around 4 times the speed of even the fastest HDD. Most of the SSDs nowadays are around 10 times more faster than the fastest HDD. Coming to point number 2, SSDs don't just get affected by fragmentation at all. Why? It's just the bane of HDDs. So the more you use the HDD, the less speedy it becomes. Whereas for the SSD, it doesn't matter how fragmented, it still has the same speed over the years. So coming to point number 3, a SSD can be much smaller in physical size than a HDD, especially if you consider the same capacities. So there are many more points when it comes for the advantages, like the SSDs use less than 1/10 the power of HDDs, so stuff like battery life gets extended. So because SSDs have less moving parts, no mechanical whatsoever, there is no friction, so that is one less source of heat. And SSDs are completely silent, while HDDs always generate vibrations, their motors are spinning up and even they make some scraping sounds. So talking about feature, SSDs serve the same purpose as HDDs. They store data and files for long-term use. The difference is that SSDs use a special type of memory called flash memory, which is similar to RAM or RAM, but unlike RAM, which clears its data whenever the computer powers down, the data on an SSD persists or stays even when it loses power. SSDs use a grid of electrical cells to quickly send and receive data. These grids are separated into sections called pages, and these pages are where data is stored. Pages are clumped together to form blocks so that they can store more data. SSDs are called solid state because they have no moving parts. So when it comes to conclusion, SSDs are quickly becoming ubiquitous in the computing world, and for good reason. Their prices are plummeting, their speeds are unmatched, they are smaller fitting into thinner systems, and they are far less likely to fail, especially after a drop or shake of the device. If you have an old computer with slow loading times in need of a performance boost, a great speed augmenting solution is to buy a SATA SSD. But if being cutting edge and speed is what you're looking for, nothing that beats an NVMe M.2 drive. So thank you for spending your valuable time watching this video, and I hope you understood the basic concept about SSDs, its working principle, its features. And if you have any queries about SSDs, please let me know in the comment section below. And thank you. Peace.